Hi, Helena. How are you?
Good. How are you doing?
I'm doing all right. So, how are things going since we last met?
Right now I'm staying in that shelter you suggested, or in the last meeting. So, I guess it's all right there.
Oh, so you're already staying at that shelter that I gave you the list of.
Mhm.
So, what kind of shelter were you staying
The women's shelter.
at? That's good. How do you feel about it that you accomplished finding a shelter before the next week?
Well, I'm happy that I'm able to stay in a shelter, but I really want to be able to find stable housing, where I'm not sleeping next to a bunch of other people, and I can not worry about my stuff getting stolen or my stuff getting looked through, and just having my own personal space and not having to share with a bunch of other women. I can understand having a roommate, but not with everyone in the shelter.
That's understandable why you want your own place. Um, so, the last time we looked at when we did your objectives, we said that we would look at your after we got done looking at shelters, which you did perfectly good at, is about looking at new jobs.
Mm-hmm.
So from a scale of 1 to 10, do you feel like you're ready to look for jobs, or
I think I'm about a 7 or 8.
a seven,
Seven and a half. There.
7.5? Okay. So so with looking for jobs, how do you feel about that?
Well, I feel like I'm ready, but I'm also nervous about on the application where they say what's your address, what to put. So that kind of makes me nervous. And then also having that job for a little while, and then losing it like I did, or going away kind of like the crab boat job.
Don't you feel like it's understandable for you to feel that way?
Yeah, I think that it is understandable for me to feel that way, and I bet other women at the shelter probably feel the same way.
So from us looking for a job, how would you know that this has been solved? How would you know that this is accomplishing something of finding a better, finding your establishing home?
Um,
Would you want me to rephrase that?
yes, please.
So, I understand that you said that you want to find that in the future you want to have your own home and you don't mind having a roommate.
Mm-hmm.
So, how does that look for you?
Well, I know when I lived out in Florida and everything, I had my own apartment with my roommate, and that was not bad. Sometimes it sucks having a roommate just with issues with that, but for the most part it wasn't that bad. But it was nice having my own space and working and seeing what my money pays for the apartment and the stuff in the apartment. My paycheck's going for that, so that I have a roof over my head or I have food in my belly. So that's what it would look like for me.
So having a roof over your head, having something good to eat.
Mm-hmm.
So, and how would you get to that?
By finding a better paying job so I can get in my own place.
So by finding a better job,
mm-hmm.
you believe that it's going to be able to giving you an establishment of your own place and your own home, and
mm-hmm.
being able to feed yourself with that.
Mm-hmm.
So, how do you feel about going and getting these applications from different places first?
Yeah, I just don't know where to apply at and everything, and what to do with my stuff at the shelter when I'm gone at work.
So when you go and apply for these jobs, how would you dress?
Dress appropriately,
mm-hmm.
with a nicer outfit and not raggedy clothes, or my hair probably a little bit nicer.
That's good. Do you think that you want to do some role playing here, and would you want to do role playing on interview, or would you rather want to do role playing on how to ask for applications, or
probably more about the interview process after I turn in my application, if I'm able to get the call, or even maybe bringing in applications in here and having you help me like figure out how to write the applications or like put the information in where it sounds better.
So, how about how do you feel about doing some homework on getting a list of jobs that you want to apply at, or getting like a few applications, and we both can take a look at that, and then for our next meeting, and then maybe we could do some behavioral rehearsals right now. Some rehearsals right now on if I was to interview you.
Okay. Yeah, we can do that.
Okay. So okay, so pretend I'm your boss and I'm asking you, what kind of accomplishments have you made in your life? What would you say?
I would say that I accomplished being a productive member on the crab fishing boat, and down in Florida, I accomplished like being productive in my previous workplace down in Florida, and I've also accomplished trying to be independent, but then I did move up here, so and adjusting to Alaskan life, so I made a huge change, but also an accomplishment moving on my own from Florida to Alaska.
That's a good way to put it. I believe that it's a strong factor that you moved here from Florida by yourself, and I believe that's a strong factor that you gave when I asked you about that. How about if I also came and asked you about why do you think you're a good candidate to work here?
That I'm a strong worker and I'm able and capable to tackle anything because I'm strong enough. Even though I am a woman, I could handle all those boys on the crab fishing boat or crabbing boat.
That's great how you put it. I think that you're more ready to apply for these jobs, and that the way that you feel about your 7.5, I think you're a 10. So like, I don't think that you should feel as if you are intimidated by applying for these kind of jobs. So and how do you feel about our next meeting is doing that homework like I mentioned earlier?
With finding like different jobs and bringing in applications and stuff. Yeah, I can do that.
I know that our objective when we signed that contract was to prepare you to find jobs, but I believe that the first next step, since you said that you're 7.5, and I believe that you are ready. I think we're ready for you to find these applications, and me and you both can look at it, and then we both can fill it out together. And so, do you think that we should meet at least twice next week or once next week?
I think twice would be good because then I could bring in like so many applications that I can find for available employment that first meeting or first session, and then like that next one I could bring in even more or tell you like what the results are from those applications that I first turned in.
Alright, that sounds good. We could do that. So let's go ahead and set up that appointment, and then we'll go ahead and relook at our objectives, and we'll go ahead and go over that.
Okay.